Hi, Chris.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Oh, no worries. How are you?
Doing great. Doing great. It's afternoon our time on East Coast in the U.S. So we're doing great.
Yeah. So just to kick off the interview, do you want to start by introducing yourself and just telling us a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, sure. Thanks for having us on. My name's Chris, and a little over 6 years ago, my wife and I moved into kind of the fringe of a refugee community outside of Atlanta, Georgia, and the community is called Clarkston. And in the U.S., it has its nickname as the most diverse square mile in the U.S. So this community began to resettle refugees back in the 1970s from different parts of the world, and it's become this very unique, eclectic, vibrant, diverse community. And so about 6 years ago, we got to move right to the edge of this community, began to meet our neighbors, and as often as possible, invite ourselves over to their home for dinner so that we could enjoy some incredible food and fellowship and connect with them. And what was interesting is early on in those conversations, every relationship we had, every conversation would end with someone asking us to help them find a job. And so after about a year of connecting with our neighbors, we decided to launch a staffing company, an employment agency, to help our refugee neighbors find good living wage jobs in the Atlanta area. We had a lot of companies in our network that were looking for good employees, and then we had all of our neighbors who were seeking jobs. And so Amplio Recruiting launched about 6 years ago to match our community up with jobs that were available in our region. And then, since then, over the last 6 years, we've been able to grow into other markets across the U.S. And now we're in 6 cities, and mostly throughout the Southeast and other parts of the U.S. And we've placed about 5,000 refugees into jobs.
Wow, that's great. So obviously, you've done really great work so far, but I guess at the moment with the coronavirus pandemic, how is that affecting your guys' work and how you've observed refugees and in your experience?
Yeah, that is the question, right? Like, how do we support our community? I think that my first response was like, what do we do? How do we serve and play our role in our community? It's been really powerful to see a lot of nonprofits and private sector businesses stepping up to provide different support in the community. But our first thing was like, let's make sure that we're providing food and other resources to our employees who are going to get laid off. And so really the whole month of April, we had about 70% of our employees were laid off from their jobs. And thanks to a lot of support in our community, we were able to provide food and meals to all of them weekly. And for the moms who had kids who were in school, we had some local churches that donated a Chromebook, laptop computers, so that they could continue to do their schoolwork away from school. So that's been a huge help. And then as of last week, we received some government funding from the U.S. to be able to pay those employees who've been laid off for the next 8 weeks. So I'm grateful that we'll get to do that. And then hopefully over that time, they'll be able to step back into their jobs again and continue to provide for their families.
Yeah. So what type of employment opportunities have you typically been able to find for the people you've worked with?
Yeah. So our main focus is in manufacturing and any kind of industrial type work. But we work in hospitality, so a lot of restaurants and hotels and catering opportunities, a lot of chefs, chefugees that we get to support. And then we do a lot of work in construction as well. And then over time, we've grown into some tech opportunities, and even looking now on a global scale of how we can support more remote work by refugees who are in camps or displaced in other areas. And so that's an ongoing project for us. But the main focus has been manufacturing roles that are paying people a living wage in an environment that is very very open to people of different backgrounds and different perspectives, and a place where they can get trained on the job and continue to improve their skills and hopefully earn more and provide more for their families.
Yeah, that's really interesting. It seems like there's like a lot of range of things that you've been working in there. So yeah, we talked about the obviously the COVID-19 situation at the moment, but in terms of the future, sort of post COVID-19, how do you see things developing for your work?
Yeah, it's been really interesting to see the response in the U.S. So I think that, from Indonesia, I think that as the manufacturing industry, usually we're going to see it being one of the first industries to return. We've seen that in China. We've seen that even maybe in some sense already in some areas in Europe. And so I think we'll see that as well in the U.S. And that as that begins to return, there'll be some sense of stability in other industries as well. So we're looking to respond, directly there. But at the same time, we want to be flexible and be able to serve where we need it. We're helping right now put together a massive virtual job fair for the entire city of Atlanta. And I'm excited about that because we'll be able to place refugees in a lot of these open jobs, but we'll also just be able to serve our city and be able to connect with companies that are in different industries that we currently don't operate in, and help them, connect to individuals who are willing and able to work and want to jump in. So always keeping our eyes open for the opportunities and the ways that we can serve.
Yeah. So in terms of for the people that maybe are watching the live stream at the moment, sort of on an individual level, what kind of things do you think that the individuals could be doing to sort of help in this kind of situation?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we always would answer that question before COVID. We would always answer that question and say, hey, connect with someone, get to know someone who is from somewhere else, that someone that didn't grow up speaking the same language that you did. And I think in this season, it's really hard, right? Because we're social distancing, we're sheltering in place. But those individuals who may not have as strong as a social network as we do can easily slip through the cracks. And if there's ways for you to handwrite a letter, or just offer some type of food, or just some sense of friendship, if it's leaving on a doorstep of someone that someone that might easily slip through the cracks in a season like this, just to show them you care about them and that they're supported, that goes a long way. I know there are a lot of food banks that are now starting to open up and allow for volunteers, and so just be open to. It's so easy in times like this to just be tunnel vision about what we need and kind of helping our family and kind of taking care of our own. But man, if there's an opportunity to just look around and see what's happening in your community, in your neighborhood, and as long as you're being careful about it, ways that you can step out and serve, that would be a powerful way to help you de-stress and lose some of your own anxiety by giving back and supporting others that are truly in a very difficult season.
Yeah, I guess as well with time sort of seeming to stop at the moment with lockdown happening, I guess it's a really good opportunity for people to take the time to do, as you say, to connect with other people that they might not otherwise have. Yeah. So how could people, if they want to get involved in sort of what you do or contact you, is there any way that they can do that we can advertise for you?
Yeah, of course. So we actually released a book in the fall, and it's called Refugee Workforce, and it's all about how it has a U.S. context, but just in general on a global scale, we recognize refugees as individuals who have so much value to offer to our communities if we're willing to recognize it. So we've got a lot of great stories in there and statistics on the ways in which refugees are already impacting local communities. So you can buy it on Amazon. We love your support in that. But overall, just give us a follow on Instagram, keep up with what we're doing, and grateful for you guys and your ongoing message, and grateful to be a part of this and this overall ecosystem of people that just recognize the value of the refugee workforce and want to continue to see that community rise and be more stable and able to support themselves.